Hello and welcome back everybody. Today I'm going to go through a selection of fragrances that I really enjoyed wearing, particularly over the last winter and autumn here in Australia. So spring has just begun here, but I know that a lot of you watching my channel are in the Northern Hemisphere and about to go into your colder season. So I thought I would tell you the ones that I really enjoyed wearing this last 6 months or so. And these ones, I mean, I wore a lot of fragrances over the winter and autumn, but these ones in particular really worked well for me, you know, on those cold, dreary days, especially given lockdown and all that kind of thing, not being able to do much. These ones I really enjoyed. I'm going to start off with one that I don't have a bottle of quite yet. One day I will have it. This is from Christian Dior. This is Au Noir from their original Privé collection. Now, I won't talk about them too much because I have actually reviewed most of these. I'll talk a little bit more detail about the one I haven't reviewed. Au Noir, basic accords here are lavender, coffee, I get, and immortelle. The lavender, all of those main accords, especially off my skin, work really well, and I find that the lavender really sort of just pulls this one back from becoming too gourmandy, if you like. I find this is kind of a spicy, resinous overall fragrance, but it is just quite spectacular in the cold weather on my skin. And you know, I have a personal attachment to this fragrance, apart from the fact that it smells great on me, and it's just that right darkness to sit well on the coldest of days, and you know, it gives me olfactory warmth, if you like. Next one is from Guerlain. This is Louis, and similar to Au Noir, but obviously in a way different smelling sort of composition. This one is built around benzoin, clove, carnation. I find this fragrance, the way it wears on me, is basically like a cloud, a soft pillowy cloud that floats above my skin. In winter, on cold days, it just gives me that sort of cover, that protective cover from a comforting smell that you really like sort of seek in the winter, as opposed to, I find the way you react to fragrances or the way you interact with your fragrances does differ between cold months and warmer months, or maybe the way they use. I guess it's the way they use. I know that I'm looking for something different from the fragrances in each of those seasons. So next up is probably the cheapest one in this selection that I've got. It's from Gucci, and this one here is Gucci Guilty Absolute. This is for the past 6 months, it's been very hard to do anything other than stay home and protect yourself. But whenever I have kind of felt a little bit housebound or a bit stir crazy, this, because it's a very unique kind of leather fragrance, and it works particularly well in the cold weather, I've sprayed this on, and it's kind of at least given me a little bit of inner adventure, if you like. Staying home, there's only so much you can do, and escaping that reality through fragrance is one way to sort of pass the time, and that's what I did with Gucci Guilty Absolute. Next up is Dervish from Rogue Perfumery. Now this one here, whenever let's face it, winter can get a little bit depressing, even just the fact that it's cold and there's a lot of things you can't do, or and it can get a little bit boring. This fragrance I've mentioned before, really I have strong associations with my childhood for reasons that I haven't been able to quite fathom yet, but for some reason from the very first moment I smelled this, it reminded me of my childhood, some period of my childhood. And this has been comforting in that regards whenever I've sprayed it on in the colder weather. So that's Dervish from Rogue Perfumery. Next up on the list, I would say it's probably the most expensive one on this list. This is Vanille from Mona Dior. I don't know if you could see the name on that bottle, but look, what is winter in perfumery without dominant vanilla? But if you're averse to vanilla in perfumery, and if you love vanilla in perfumery, you should still try this, because this isn't really, for me, all about vanilla. I love this because of this whole selection. It's probably, for me, the most opulent and lush perfume there is. It is made for cold weather. I love the spiciness and the booziness particularly, and there's a beautiful sweet orange note in the opening with this one here that I really, really enjoy. It just makes me feel decadent, richer than I really am, and I think I smell fantastic. That's Vanille from Mona Dior. Okay, last one on this list. This is one I haven't done a review of. I will be doing one in time, I guess. This one here is probably what I would regard as the sexiest fragrance from my winter favorites. This one here is Habanita from Molinard. This is the eau de parfum. There are vintages, vintage eau de toilettes. This is the more current eau de parfum, but it's the only one I have smelled. Oh, actually, I lie. I have smelled a sample of the eau de toilette. I actually still prefer this one slightly, but I don't know. I'm still working out how to describe this one. It's floral, it's resinous, there is some animalics here, it's powdery, definitely. And look, a lot of people might say this is probably, especially guys might say this is probably a little bit too feminine for their taste, but I always encourage everybody to try anything regardless of whether it's marketed to men or women. I did, and I have no regrets about Habanita from Molinard. They're my 5 favorite cold weather fragrances for 2020 at least anyway. I'd like to hear about your favorite fragrances in the winter. I know many of you in the Northern Hemisphere, what are you looking forward to wearing? And for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, what have you enjoyed wearing this past 6 months in winter and autumn? Thank you again for joining me. As always, it's a pleasure, and I will see you all soon. Bye.